Hello there. I am going to be doing the chapter 3 of Divergent, and first of all, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers and the supportive people, and everyone checking it out. I'm glad I could make you happy, and if not, I'm glad that you can help me out, and so thank you. I'm just very glad it's, paying off, I guess. And so thank you, and thank you to the people that are sure to come ahead, and because of that, well, also because I was planning on it anyways, I have a sort of like a little surprise-ish thing coming up, so just keep an eye out on that. I just need to edit it and that fun stuff, so keep an eye out on that. And I think I look semi like a mix of Amity, abnegation, and dauntless today. I have to share that, like, because my makeup's kind of simple-ish, well, sort of, reminds me of abnegation, and then my shirt's kind of dauntless, stripes with lace on it. So I guess it's a little bit of Amity, I don't know. And I apologize for being about 2 months late on one, because I've been recently reading a really cool series that I think that if you like Divergent, you will most likely like this. It's The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare, and it's pretty amazing. So just want to share that. But I also am very excited because in 2 weeks, about 2 weeks, Insurgent comes out. So yay, and Insurgent comes out, and the 5th book of this series. So I mean, May's pretty good year, pretty good month, and it's the last day of school in May. Oh my god, so excited. But so Insurgent is coming out, so go look out for that in May 1st. And also, I am going to be starting acting classes this summer, so I will definitely improve, and I will be working more on the physical part of acting. So because when I'm reading, it's only just voice and like emotional kind of, and it's not the physical acting. I want some more to do with that. So now that we're done with all that, intro stuff. Capítulo 3, Chapter 3, in Spanish. Okay. Tris mode. Okay. I wake to sweaty palms and a pang of guilt in my chest. I am lying in the chair in the mirrored room. When I tilt my head back, I see Tori behind me. She pinches her lips together and removes electrodes from our heads. I wait for her to say something about the test, that it's over or that I did well. Though how could I do poorly on a test like this? But she says nothing, just pulls the wires from my head. I sit forward and wipe my palms off on my slacks. I had to have done something wrong, even if it only happened in my mind. Is that strange look on Tori's face because she doesn't know how to tell me what a terrible person I am? I wish she would just come out with it. That, she says, was perplexing. Excuse me, I'll be right back. Perplexing? I bring my knees to my chest and bury my face in them. I wish I felt like crying, because the tears might bring me a sense of release, but I don't. How can you fail a test you aren't allowed to prepare for? As the moments pass, I get more nervous. I have to wipe off my hands every few seconds as the sweat collects. Or maybe I just don't do it because it helps me feel calmer. What if they tell me that I'm not cut out for any faction? I would have to live on the streets with the factionless. I can't do that. To live factionless is not just to live in poverty and discomfort. It is to live divorced from society, separated from the most important thing in life, community. Community. My mother told me once that we can't survive alone. But even if we could, we wouldn't want to. Without a faction, we have no purpose and no reason to live. I shake my head. I can't live like that. I can't think like this. I have to stay calm. Finally, the door opens and Tori walks back in. I grip the arms of the chair. Sorry to worry you, Tori says. She stands by my feet with her hands in her pockets. She looks tense and pale. Beatrice, your results were inconclusive. she says. Typically, each stage of the simulation eliminates one or more of the factions, but in your case, only 2 have been ruled out. I stare at her. 2? I ask. My throat is so tight it's hard to talk. If you had shown an automatic distaste for the knife and selected the cheese, the simulation would have led you to a different scenario that confirmed your aptitude for Amity. That didn't happen, which is why Amity is out. Tori scratches the back of her neck. Normally, the simulation progresses in a linear fashion, isolating one faction by ruling out the rest. The choices you made didn't even allow candor, the next possibility, to be ruled out. So I had to alter the simulation to put you on the bus. And there your insistence upon dishonesty ruled out candor. She half smiles. Don't worry about that. Only the candor tell the truth in that one. One of the knots in my chest loosens. Maybe I'm not an awful person. I suppose that's not entirely true. People who tell the truth are the candor and the abnegation, she says, which gives us a problem. My mouth falls open. On the one hand, you threw yourself on the dog rather than let it attack the little girl, which is an abnegation-oriented response. But on the other, when the man told you that the truth would save him, you still refused to tell it. Not an abnegation-oriented response, she sighs. Not running from the dog suggests dauntless, but so does taking the knife, which you didn't do. She clears her throat and continues. Your intelligence response to the dog indicates strong alignment with the erudite. I have no idea what to make of your indecision in stage 1, but... Wait, I interrupt her. So you have no idea what my aptitude is? Yes and no. My conclusion, she explains, is that you display equal aptitude for abnegation, dauntless, and erudite. People who get this kind of result are... She looks over her shoulder like she expects someone to appear behind her. Are called Divergent. She says the last word so quietly that I almost don't hear it, and her tense, worried look returns. She walks around the side of the chair and leans in close to me. Beatrice, she says, under no circumstances should you share that information with anyone. That is very important. We aren't supposed to share our results, I nod. I know that. No. Tori kneels next to the chair now and places her arms on the armrest. Our faces are inches apart. This is different. I don't mean you shouldn't share them now. I mean you should never share them with anyone, ever, no matter what happens. Divergent is extremely dangerous. You understand? I don't understand. How could inconclusive test results be dangerous? But I still nod. I don't want to share my test results with anyone anyway. Okay. I peel my hands from the arms of the chair and stand. I feel unsteady. I suggest that you go home. You have a lot of thinking to do, and waiting with the others may not benefit you. I have to tell my brother where I am going. I'll start that. I have to tell my brother where I am going. I'll let him know. I touch my forehead and stare at the floor as I walk out of the room. I can't bear to look her in the eye. I can't bear of thinking about the choosing ceremony tomorrow. It's my choice now, no matter what the test says. Abnegation, dauntless, erudite, divergent. I decide not to take the bus. If I get home early, my father will notice when he checks the house log at the end of the day, and I'll have to explain what happened. Instead, I walk. I'll have to intercept Caleb before he mentions anything to her parents, but Caleb can keep a secret. I walk in the middle of the road. The buses tend to hug the curb, so it's safer here. Sometimes on the streets near my house, I can see places where the yellow lines used to be, We have no use for them now that there are so few cars. We don't need stoplights either. But in some places, they dangle precariously over the road like they might crash down any minute. Renovation moves slowly through the city, which is a patchwork of new, clean buildings and old, crumbling ones. Most of the new buildings are next to the marsh, which used to be a lake long time ago. The abnegation volunteer agency my mother works for is responsible for most of those renovations. When I look at the abnegation lifestyle as an outsider, I think it's beautiful. When I watch my family move in harmony, when we go to dinner parties and everyone cleans together afterward without having to be asked, when I see Caleb help strangers carry their groceries, I fall in love with this life all over again. It's only when I try to live it myself that I have trouble. It never feels genuine. But choosing a different faction means I forsake my family. Permanently. Just past the abnegation sector of the city is the stretch of buildings, skeletons, and broken sidewalks that I now walk through. There are places where the roads has completely collapsed, revealing sewer systems and empty subways that I have to be careful to avoid, and places that stink so powerfully of sewage and trash that I have to plug my nose. This is where the factionless live. Because they failed to complete initiation into whatever faction they chose, they live in poverty, doing the work no one else wants to do. They are janitors and construction workers and garbage collectors. They make fabric and operate trains and drive buses. In return for their work, they get food and clothing. But, as my mother says, not enough of either. I see a factionless man standing on the corner up ahead. He wears ragged brown clothing and skin sags from his jaw. He stares at me, and I stare back at him, unable to look away. Excuse me, he says, his voice is raspy. Do you have something I can eat? I feel a lump in my throat. A stern voice in my head says, duck your head and keep walking. No, I shake my head. I should not be afraid of this man. He needs help and I am supposed to help him. Yes. I reach into my bag. My father tells me to keep food in my bag at all times for exactly this reason. I offer the man a small bag of dried apple slices. He reaches for them, but instead of taking the bag, his hand closes around my wrist. He smiles at me. He has a gap between his front teeth. My, don't you have pretty eyes? It's a shame the rest of you is so plain. My heart pounds. I tug my hand back, but his grip tightens. I smell something acrid and unpleasant on his breath. You look a little young to be walking around by yourself, dear, he says. I stop tugging and stand up straighter. I know I look young. I don't need to be reminded. I'm older than I look. I retort, I'm 16. His lips spread wide, revealing a gray molar with a dark pit in the side. I can't tell if he's smiling or grimacing. Then isn't today a special day for you? The day before you choose? Let go of me, I say. I hear a ringing in my ears. My voice sounds clear and stern, not what I expected to hear. I feel like it doesn't belong to me. I am ready. I know what to do. I picture myself bringing my elbow back and hitting him. I see the bag of apples flying away from me. I hear my running footsteps. I am prepared to act. But then he releases my wrist, takes the apples, and says, choose wisely, little girl. There you go. I kind of forgot how I did the voices for Tori, and it's also kind of harder when you're reading it because it's not like actual lines and scripts where you can memorize them, and so it's just kind of totally improv. So I apologize for any mistakes I have made, but yeah, keep watching for it will get better because the inner chapters are amazing. Okay.